Hello, and welcome to our next episode in the Solo Dungeon series. Before I get into the specifics of this dungeon, because there are actually a few special things that the Scaraleafs actually do, I'm going to start by saying that I've noticed the videos kind of seem like they drag at certain points when I'm considering what to do against the creatures that I'm against at the time. So due to those planning periods, I'm going to actually be speeding up the footage a little bit. That way, hopefully, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of downtime between actions. I'm going to test it at different speeds and see what seems best. So I'm only going to speed it up a little bit for this one. But for the next, I might do it even faster. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So for this dungeon, there is quite a few things to actually look into. The first of these things being Scaraleafs actually will be your first creature that has a real resistance. So for instance, the white Scaraleaf actually cannot take damage from agility attacks or air attacks. The blue one is chance or water, the green is strength or earth, and the red is intel or fire. So when you get to a room that has a Scaraleaf of the element that resists you, you're simply, if you're not a hybrid, like a weak early game hybrid build, you're going to have to just use off elements to kill them. And hopefully your set has some plus damages. If you're scrolled, it really helps there. If you're using a sidekick, that can help a ton too, because you can just use the sidekick's abilities that are a different element. So that's the first note to keep in mind, and it becomes even more difficult when you're actually fighting the Scarabugly if your resistant Scaraleaf is in the fight as well. The second thing to keep in mind is the black Scaraleaf, which actually appears in the second to last dungeon fight as well as the last one against the boss. This Scara has some resistance against every element, so just use whatever you usually use on it. However, it can steal your movement points, and it also has the ability to turn itself and any allies around it invisible, which makes it a little harder to plan your positioning because you're not going to know exactly where all of the enemies are at. So if you can, he's usually pretty easy to kill first, or at least try to focus him till he turns invisible. Another strategy you can use against him is to simply push him away from his allies, so that if he turns invisible, he only turns himself invisible and not the other Scaraleafs with him. So in the boss fight itself, I would recommend, if you can, kill the black Scaraleaf first, and then kill any regular Scaraleafs that you can, especially ones that are not resistant to you. So for instance, if you are in my fight here, there's a white Scaraleaf, a black Scaraleaf, and a blue Scaraleaf. I'm strength, so I don't have to worry about it, but let's say you were actually an agility build. You would want to kill the blue and black first and save the white for after, because it's going to take longer to kill, and if you get cornered, you're not going to want to be taking hits from 4 different creatures at the same time. And on that note of cornering, the Golden Scarabugly, the boss, actually has its own special skill as well, where it can steal movement points from you, just like the black Scaraleaf can. However, the same move also steals 10 of your range and some of your AP. So this move makes it kind of hard to kite in the boss room, because if you have modifiable range skills, then you're going to have pretty much 0 range at this level. So everything's going to be a melee fight. So use non-modifiable range moves are extremely useful here because of that aspect. And even though the Golden Scarabugly actually takes away all those stats from you, I would recommend starting as far from it as possible and killing it last. And the reason for this is it only has, I believe, 3 movement points. But if it gets within range of you, it actually has a huge health pool. And its main damage attack actually steals some of the life from the hits. So it becomes a war of attrition if you are melee fighting it, meaning hit it harder than it can heal and hit you. So keeping it for last and killing off everything else, I think, would be the easiest way to do this. If you have non-modifiable range spells, those are super useful in keeping it at range while you just poke it and kite it down in the end. If you're melee, then it'll be a lot more difficult for you unless you have a sidekick with ranged attacks and you use that to kite. Or if you have life steal skills and hit pretty hard, like I believe IOPS actually have an erosion skill this early on. I think it's pressure, unless they changed it. So you can make it so the the Golden Scarabugly cannot heal as much. Sacrios are really good because as they get lower in health, they can hit harder, and then you combine that with the lifesteal move, and you should be able to just kind of sit there and beat on it once you've gotten everything else out of the way. So I believe that's everything for this fight. Other than the special abilities that they have, they should be pretty straightforward. Kill off everything you can close to you, keep the boss away, and then finish off the boss at the end. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. I will let you finish watching this, and I will see you next time.
When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. Don't be scared. Just level up. Don't be turning back. I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so on, you're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad, I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math when I keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We